See, okay, people are joining, right? We give it a bit of time for people to join, should I? Looks like we're stuck at 14 there. All right, so good afternoon, colleagues. I'm saying afternoon because it's afternoon where I am in Southern Africa, connecting from Cape Town. So it could be whatever time it could be, wherever you are. Welcome to the first ICASA Abstract Mentor Training workshop. It gives me great pleasure, colleagues, to be welcoming you to this very, very important and historical moment. I say historical because, it's a moment that we've been waiting for, and a lot of work has been going on behind the scenes. My name is Munya, and my surname is Sarchera, and I work at Stellenbosch University. I'm an international steering committee member of of ICASA, and also a committee member of the ICASA Abstract Mentorship Program. So we welcoming colleagues to the training. It is a dream come true for ICASA, because this has been an important milestone towards, what I would like to call growing our own timber as ICASA and as Africa at the same time. What exactly do I mean by that? They say teach one, teach all. And in this case, we are saying mentor one, mentor all. And it is the mark of a seasoned, a mature, and a senior researcher to want to mentor and also to pass on the skills to the new generation of researchers that are following in our footsteps, and those that may actually be working alongside us, and those that will follow. So for that reason, this is a very, very historic moment in the launch of the ICASA mentorship abstract mentorship program. So please, it gives me great pleasure to be welcoming you all to this. So colleagues, on behalf of the committee, that is the committee that is in charge of the abstract mentorship program, and as well as the colleagues at ICASA and the colleagues at the Society for Asian Africa, who are helping us with the behind the scenes and all the hard work that is going on, as well as the various structures that are preparing for the ICASA conference that is coming up later in December. Please allow me to thank you, colleagues, and to welcome me to this platform training, that is going to happen, just to help you to familiarize yourselves as mentors, to familiarize with the platform itself, where the mentorship is going to be, to be happening. So we thank you so much for your time. We thank you for your commitment. And we thank you so also for your contribution to the Africa that we want. You are the first batch of mentors, and therefore we are very, very special as far as we are concerned, because you are the pathfinders. You are actually forming the important baseline, and you're going to influence how this process is going to roll out. How are you going to influence it? It is by doing the work. It is by giving us feedback in terms of what areas we could improve, so that the generations of junior and younger researchers will benefit. So we do not take this for granted, and we appreciate you sincerely for this contribution. We thank you so much for all that you're doing, and also my singular thanks to the colleagues at the Society for Age and Africa Secretariat, Gordon and team, Brother Luke and team, and for all that you're doing behind the scenes. So on that note, I would say welcome and all the best, colleagues. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Munya, and welcome everybody to this practical session. So standing on existing protocols, I'll move straight forward to the system. Okay, so as we can see I hope we can all see the screen. Once we have your details as mentors, you will receive a link to the login to the platform, which will bring you directly to this platform. So once you get to the home page, you move to the next option, which is abstracts. So you click on abstracts. Once you click on abstracts, this is the page. I think it's loading. Let's give it a minute. Yes. So you get to this page. So at this stage, you would have been allocated abstracts for mentoring based on your track, and also that the track means your area of expertise, and then as well as whether you are an English or French speaking mentor. So both options for abstract submission have been indicated. So when you come here, you have people who are submitting abstracts based on option 1 or option 2, and also the teams of the various tracks are also available. Then you get to the abstract itself. So I would click on one for an example. Yes. So you have the page loading. So this is a sample abstract or draft for testing purposes. So you have the various categories in terms of abstract submission on the left. We are on the title and presentation type, where we have the title, we have the presentation type that was submitted by the mentee as option 1. So we go straight to review. We go to abstracts. Once we hit the abstract, we are given the option to review the abstract that was submitted. And then we go through the abstract based on the option that was selected, either option 1 or option 2. The mentor makes sure that the abstract is in line with the option that was initially selected. And then we now go to review submission. So when we get to review submission, yes, we have what we call the reviewer notes, where the mentor would give his brief notes on the abstract, and then On the second option, we have comments to the author. This is where the mentor would indicate if he or she has, based on the review of the abstract, whether he has any recommendations or corrections. This is where it will be indicated. So when we come down here, we have two options. We have the return to author for editing option, and we have the update option. For the update option, it is an option where the mentor can review the abstract that was submitted directly and update it into the system. The second option is return to author for editing, and which is the option that we highly recommend, because this option allows the mentee to implement the changes or the review of the mentor by his or himself or herself. So we don't advocate for our mentors to use the update option. It's an inbuilt option within the system we are using, but we kindly ask all our mentors to go with the return for author option. So after inputting your review in this column here, then you go to return to you click on the return to author for editing. So once you submit the click to author for editing option, it takes you back to the portal, and you will see the option under status as allowed to edit. With that option, it means the mentee would be allowed to review his or her abstract based on the edits or the changes the mentor may have recommended. And then for the mentor may go back to the abstract. So for instance, if I'm a mentee, I would also come back to the abstract submission portal. I'll go through the system, and then I'll go to implement what the mentor had recommended. Now I'll receive an email as a mentor that the mentee has implemented or has made changes to the abstract, and then I will now be allowed to go back through the same system to review the changes. So I go back to the review abstract option. So once that option is available, that would be an abstract, sorry. So once you receive the email that the mentee has implemented the changes, you come back to the body of the abstract, which is situated at the abstract button here. You review the abstract. If you are satisfied, then you go back to the review submission option. Once you are satisfied that the mentee has implemented the changes to his or her abstract, then you take the completed option panel here. Once you click the checkbox, you will now see that the green button would appear saying submit completed review. So once you click on the submitted review, that means you have cleared the abstract for submission. But if you still have any issues with the updated abstract, maybe it's the mentee did not follow the direction or the recommendations that you give, you can still indicate within the comment to author box available and goes to return for author editing. But once you click the completed checkbox, that means the abstract is good to go. for review. And then you now click on the Submit Completed Review option. So once you come to the after you click the Submitted Review option, you will see that the status is checked as completed. That means the mentee had followed the instructions and recommendations you gave and has implemented them within the abstract, for which you have also gone through once again and reviewed and certified that he or she has done the right thing. And then the abstract is now good to go for review. So you see you have a number of abstracts here. So that will be determined by the number of mentees who will opt for the number of abstract submitters that will opt for the mentorship program, and also depend on the number of abstracts that we will receive per track, as well as the number of mentors available per track. So we will not be able to determine the number of abstracts for now, but this is the criteria that will be used to share or assign abstracts to mentees for review. Thank you very much. Over to you, Dr. Muna.
All right. Thank you, there, Brother Gordon. And so, colleagues, this is it. Yeah, I think other extra information I just thought maybe I could share, but I was waiting for questions to come up in the event that Gordon and I might have to answer some of your questions. The first, I think, piece of information I wanted to just let you know is that ICASA, they will be launching the call for abstracts on the 1st of March. And that will close on the 31st of March. So the training that is going to be happening on supporting junior researchers with abstracts will be taking place during that timeline. Generally, just I thought you should know. And because we have launched this abstract mentorship program, from our side, we are expecting best abstracts from the young and junior researchers later on for the ICASA conference in December. And we look forward to seeing more junior researchers participating and having more of junior researchers abstracts being accepted, because they are far and they are better, than they have been before. And also we hope that there'll be more visibility of young and junior researchers at the ICASA conference, thanks to yourselves. And then that will be an immediate indicator to see if there's any difference in the quality of abstracts that have been submitted by junior researchers, and then how many of them are going to be, submitted and accepted, as well as those who are going to present at the conference. And even more importantly, because of the journal that is being launched, how many of those who possibly even go further and publish, full papers that, they would have written thanks to your support and guidance, as well as wisdom and experience in developing, good quality abstracts and, of course, papers. So over to you, colleagues. I don't know if there are any comments or questions. And I come in the spirit that we are all very well experienced. I've got no doubt about it. And then, we all know different things. So I think this becomes a platform where we really share and we look at how things would be done. But I don't know if there are any comments that are specifically, targeted at what has been presented to you by the SAA Secretariat, as represented by Mr. Gordon Tampro. Any comments there, colleagues? Even appreciation, it doesn't have to be a question.
Yeah, I think I would start. Can you hear me, Prof. Muya?
There's my brother, Prof. David Akpan. I can hear you. Good to see you again.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks, Gordon. I think this is quite very laudable in terms of being able to manage and have visibility into all of the the reviews that the mentors are going to do. So this system is well appreciated and really guides the process. But what I couldn't find from the system is actually the mentee's contact, right? Remember we talked about, maybe it's there. I didn't think you showed that. Because we talked about an opportunity to schedule either a call with a mentee, especially to clarify some of the reviews. Because from experience, if you're just dropping reviews on abstract or document without some context, it might be either misleading or the mentee might not necessarily understand it better, right? So being able to get that contact would help, to establish some of those conversations to say, this is what the reviews are all about. This is, I don't know, all of that, so that you're able to establish far more vocal interactions than just dropping some words. The second thing I wanted to also check, it's around the system that's kind of, I mean, this is maybe SaaS would not necessarily protect that in terms of if we have to have calls with the mentee, you use other meeting platforms. But is that being built into this particular tool that you can initiate a meeting with the mentee within the same platform, right? I think that can even be something that helps kind of expand the platform, that if you completed or you suggested your reviews and you want a meeting with the mentee, you just click a button, it takes you to a secured meeting platform where you either schedule a meeting. I think there are options like Calendly helps you to schedule a meeting, and then also maybe integrating Teams or Google Meet helps you to, also secure that meeting. So something of that nature, so that within the platform, you're most likely also organizing everything together. So that was my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother David. There, Gordon, I think that one is for you to take and respond. Then we'll come to some of the comments that have been posted. I'll read those later after your response.
Okay, thank you very much, David. So for the first question, when we are signing the abstracts to the mentors, the emails of the mentees will be included in the introductory email the mentors will receive. So that is the option for the mentor and the mentee to engage via email. Secondly, unfortunately, our system does not have that capability where we can schedule meetings through the system. However, as I mentioned earlier, once we have, the mentor would have access to the email of the mentee and vice versa. If any further review would want to be shared with each other, you can either do that through the system where you can input your recommendations via the option in the system, or also via email, for which the mentee would have to implement on the abstract. But we also advise that you actually give your review or your recommendations through the system, because once the mentee has updated the abstract, you receive an email to check. And once you check the review, you can certify whether him or her has gone through or has done the right thing based on the recommendations through the system, so that you can have that smooth transition. Sometimes maybe you schedule meetings and you might have an emergency or something, you will not be able to attend to the meeting. Meanwhile, the abstract review that you gave through the system will be pending. So we kindly advise that mentors to actually share their reviews through the option within the system as much as possible. But maybe if any further clarity maybe or guidance may be needed by the mentee, that is where you can use the email option. Thank you.
Thank you there, Gordon. Brother David, I hope you are answered, including others on whose behalf you have asked that question as well, that might have been having the same question. I saw there were some comments Now I'm only seeing, I don't know what has happened, but I think, colleagues, I think once you have the email, you can always also take the initiative. Remember, this is a relationship building, that process that will be happening. If there becomes a need for you to engage with your mentee, you can then ask that you meet, whether via Google Meet, Zoom, Team, and other, whatever other means that they may want to and be comfortable to engage, whether via WhatsApp and so forth. It may not always necessarily always happen that easily, especially because the relationship may start off a little bit cold and distant, but it's really again about building the relationship, making the mentee comfortable and being approachable, and offering other means for engagement, because of the social aspect. We are human beings. It's always going to be very important to also talk. There was somebody who raised a question. I don't remember the name there, but I think they were asking because they joined late they were asking if there's a recording and if that recording will be shared. So Gordon, I'm going to ask you to respond to that. Then Zephany from Rwanda, he did raise some questions which I'm trying to recall because it seems to have disappeared from my end there. They were asking.
Yeah, Doc,
Sorry?
I can assist you with that as well. So yes,
Yeah.
the recording, first of all, be shared after the meeting. I think Zephany was asking how mentees would be assigned to mentors. That was the question he asked. And the mentees will be assigned to the mentors based on the tracks, the various scientific tracks, because that is the area of expertise in which the mentor has chosen to mentor abstracts. So it's based on the scientific track assigned to the mentor for which the mentee would be assigned. So for example, if I'm a mentee and I submitted my abstract under track A, and Dr. Munya is a mentor, and he decided to be a mentor and decided to select track A as his area of expertise. Then all abstracts will be assigned to Dr. Munya to mentor, as well as his colleagues that also choose that track as well. Thank you.
Then was there another question? Zephany, if you are colleagues, I would like to encourage us to talk, because if you are sending messages on the chat, we may not be able to answer to all those responses while at the same time we are chatting. So it will be a great opportunity to see each other, a great opportunity to hear each other as well, where you may have got any specific comments. I see the comment that followed here from Joseph Ashevo. It was also asked, they are saying network issues. They're also asking about the recording of the first part of this session. So I don't know what is the first part, Joseph, but I think at the end of the day, what will be important is just for the whole recording to be given, because we don't know what is first part, what is second part, what is the other third part, as it were, because people are joining at different times. Any further comments? And yes, Zephany, I see your hand, and then there's a Naidu, Mr. Naidu. You can go. Zephany, you'll follow. I don't know if it is a new hand or it's a historical hand.
No, it's now. Thank you so much for the good presentation on the system. I think it's a very nice system which will help us to do the work very easily. So maybe another question which is connected to my previous one. So how will we balance the workload?
What do you mean, Zephany? Can you be clear when you say how do we balance? Who is we? Which workload are you saying? Are you saying how many abstracts will you be given as Zephany, or I want to be very clear?
Yes, like now, so many mentees may select like track A, so many of them, while maybe other tracks are less selected. So if like we have 100.
I get you.
Yes, thank you.
Look, don't worry. There's a whole team behind us, and behind, Gordon and them there's a lot of work. We will not overload you, but at the same time, we're human beings and not machines. So we are going to be talking we know how many people right now are under what track. This is all part of the administration and the secretariat. They are doing the needful. and we will not anticipate a situation where we'll say, Zephany, here is 20 abstracts to review or to mentor, for example, and once that has happened, in case, but again, when you say balance is different things for different people. We may give you 2 abstracts or 2 mentees, and it may not be balanced for you. It becomes a question where we will have to communicate, and I think Gordon will talk to us about that. And but I think for being available to mentor over that period from the 1st of March to the 31st of May, there's reasonable time to be having back and forth, chats and support to the mentee by the mentors. And then and it may happen, situations change. Someone may also become unavailable suddenly because either they're sick or something has happened. That they would be addressed and it will be all managed. But Gordon can talk to the technical aspects of it. How would we know? And I mean, when somebody is no longer available, so that the mentee is then allocated to somebody else. Gordon, would you like to speak to that before we go to Dr. Naidu?
Yes, thank you very much. I think you've partially answered the question, but for instance, through the system, we once the mentees have been allocated to the mentors, and we realize that, okay, for whatever reason, maybe the mentor may not be responding because we noticed that the number of reviews haven't changed over a period of time. We send out reminders to the mentor. We try to contact them and remind them that we have pending reviews as well. And also, like Dr. Munya mentioned earlier, in ICASA, we have in terms of abstract submission, there's been a long-standing history, and the statistics tell us which tracks are normally heavily submitted among all the 5. And as Dr. Munya mentioned, we behind the scenes and based on the number of mentors that we have, we try as much as possible to allocate these abstracts to make sure that each and every mentor may not be overloaded. But also, like I mentioned, once we also realize that for 1 or 2 reasons, the mentor may not be able, like Dr. Munya mentioned, maybe due to ill health or an emergency, we try as much as possible to also reallocate these abstracts so that we give the mentees more time to be able to get their reviews in for implementation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother Gordon. Zephany, I think you answered there. Colleagues, let's not build a lot of scenarios to say what if. We want to deal with practicalities. The what ifs, we are very well I mean, ICASA has been running for many years now, and the Secretariat, as Gordon has already said, they would be able to deal with any eventualities. Because if we think and we come up with scenarios, we may not be able, I think we may be really wasting our time instead of really getting on to practical things that we may want to really speak about. When those issues happen, I assure you, we will address them and they will be addressed and will be supported as needed. And should you not be responding as Gordon has said, if we realize that time has lapsed, maybe it's a whole week or 7 days you have not, then of course, emails, reminders, and calls. If you don't get successful in that, we reallocate the mentee to somebody else so that they don't lose on more time. Dr. Naidu, then I'll come to you, Dr. Joseph Ashivo. Over to you, Dr. Naidu.
Thank you very much. That was a very interesting presentation and quite insightful. I just want to ask, there's on the screen for the abstract review screen, there's those 2 spaces where you can type the reviewer notes, and the other space is the comments to author. So from what I understand, from what I heard, the comments to the author can be seen by the author. Those are the comments that will be seen by the author. But I want to ask the reviewer notes, is that section visible to the author, or what is that section specifically for? And then a quick second question, is there any embargo on the abstracts for co-submission to other conferences, or is it whatever abstracts are submitted to ICASA are embargoed? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Naidu. Over to you, Gordon. I think on that. But if I may, I'm not a technical person like Gordon. But what I can imagine, I think yes. So I think for the author, they'll then be able to view. And then for the reviewer, once they're there, I haven't used the system, it's very new. By the way, you'll be the first ones to be using this. But I would imagine it also becomes a record that will be able to store there, and we're able to go back. And then MNT, for some reason, if they want to be responsible, they'll tell you they never had, or they never saw, the reviewer never reacted, they never responded. We then have a reference and a record to go back to and pull it out and realize this is exactly what they've said. And in the event of a mentor not being able to complete the process because life happens, somebody else may take them on, they may take on the mentor and the mentee. And then you might have situations where sometimes even the comments may vary or may differ. Or if I come in as a mentor to Gordon, and that Gordon was being mentored by Dr. Naidu, who for some reason then could not carry on or was not available, there'll still be all that record to be able to see. And then the mentee may start telling me something else to say, oh, but Dr. Naidu said, you can only do this. You can't do what you are saying as Munya. And then, I may say, Gordon, can I see the comments, whatever the reviewer comments by Dr. Naidu, to be able to reconcile where there might be need or to help the mentee, pass through that block. But that's not for me to say as much. Over to you, Gordon, just so you can.
Doc, I think you answered the question, and it's also very important for you to also for that option for the mentor, because in addition to everything that you've said, once you have a grace period for which the mentee may revert back to you based on the recommendations that you've made, and maybe also looking at the number of mentees that you also have been assigned to, you may actually forget the where you are or in terms of the review. So you just go back, it's like a notes for you to review. Okay, this abstract, this is where we reached. The person was supposed to implement this change or recommendation, and you can now use that as the basis to go and review the abstract that has been resubmitted for your review as well. So it's everything Dr. Munya mentioned is in line with the answer, as well as what I've added. Thank you. I didn't quite get the second aspect. I think Dr. Naidu was asking on the issue of embargoes. So with the issue of, if I'm wrong, kindly correct me, but with the issue of embargoes with ICASA, once you are submitting your abstract at ICASA, you are not allowed to submit your abstract at any other conference, because if your abstract goes through the review process and has been selected for publication, ICASA has an embargo on that abstract. So even when you are submitting the abstract, before you can be able to submit the abstract, you would have those terms and conditions within the system asking you, giving you what you can do and what you cannot do at that stage. And it's up to the submitter to, if you can only go forward with the process if you adhere to those conditions. Thank you.
Yes, Gordon, that was the question from Dr. Naidu. It was around the embargo. And then I think, as we said at the meeting the other day, with ICASA now coming up with launching its journal at the next conference, it becomes even sweeter for those who then want to publish, to then even select the ICASA journal, or if they so wish. Dr. Joseph Ashibo, over to you. You've got the floor.
All right, thank you so much to Munya. Thank you, Dr. Gordon. Thank you to Secretariat. I've been following the conversations quite keenly. Great job you all doing there. Thank you so much. So my question was with respect to the timing. I know I've been waiting to hear the time, the period, the time it takes for that the mentors will be given to be able to conclusively review the abstracts and provide feedback, and then the time it will take for the mentee to provide the feedback. I think, Dr. Munya, you mentioned 1 week. I know many of the other peer review journals that we review for, usually 1 week is a fair period. So is that a period we're also working with? Thank you.
If I may, just Dr. Joseph, where are you connecting from? Dr. Naidu, I know you're connecting from South Africa. Dr. David, you're connecting from Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken, from our last meeting, and Dr. Zephany from Rwanda. Dr. Joseph, you're connecting from?
I'm connecting from Nigeria.
Oh, Nigeria as well. Sorry, I just thought we begin to place each other to know who is where. I tend to remember some of these names easily. Now, okay, over to you, Gordon. Would you like to give it a first shot on that?
Yes, thank you very much for this question. It's very important. Thank you once again. I think the grace period, it's going to be 1 week. Because let's bear in mind that we don't also want to overload our mentors, and also the mentees may need our feedback within the shortest possible time. So at least if we notice that after 1 week, you have not given a response or a review to the mentee, we would contact you, send a reminder, so that the window is normally 1 week. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. There, thank you, Gordon. Dr. Joseph, yes, I just said 1 week as an example, but it would, and we do know life happens, especially given the various things, and even more so those in academia, that there will be a lot of competing things. But I think if you get what I would encourage is acknowledge once things have been sent to you, acknowledge receipt, and then you may even indicate there that, okay, I've received it. I'll be addressing this by such and such. I was saying that the call for abstract is also opening on the 1st of March, and it will close by the 31st of May. I just thought, let me let you know about that period, that 3 months period. That's when calls for abstract for the conference. The rest of the dates are going to be announced. I mean, they are already unknown, but that information will be shared so that people get a sense to be able to know what are the various timelines. Any further questions? I hope we answered my brother, Professor Joseph Ajivo. Any further questions and comments, colleagues?
Thank you so much. This is Unia. I'm connecting from Uganda. This is on the side of the mentors, because you say this is a new system, and we know there's been an old system where you log in with your email, and we're also going to log in with the mentor system by the same email. So if a mentor is also an author and wants to submit an abstract, are they able to access that option in the mentor interface? Thank you.
Welcome back, Dr. Unia. I remembered you very, very clearly from last time. Gordon, over to you. I was going to give my view, but let me do it after if necessary.
Thank you very much. No, you will not be able to access the system with the same link. The abstract submission link and the link for abstract mentors are two unique links. So you will not be able to access the system through the same email. You get through the same link. You may use the same email, but not the same links, because each will take you to a different aspect of the system as well. And then also, once we also notice that you are a mentor who is submitting an abstract, we try as much as possible to make sure that you don't receive your own abstracts for mentoring or review, if I can put it that way. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you too. That's clear. Yeah.
And remember, Dr. Unia, those who want to receive mentorship, they'll have to indicate, and mentorship is not going to be forced on anybody. So whoever submits it, they will then indicate somewhere that, yes, they are open and they would like to receive mentoring support. So I hope we'll not have the situation of who polices the police situation. Further questions, comments, appreciation, colleagues, comrades, there's others would like to say, brothers and sisters, and other.
Hello?
Yes, Professor Chiedozi.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Yeah,
Good afternoon, my brother.
yeah, I'm calling from Nigeria.
You've got a floor, please proceed.
Yeah, I want to find out, is there room for the mentors to interact with the secretariat in the course of the mentorship? Assuming there arises the need for clarifications. Is there room in the platform for that? Thank you.
Over to you, Gordon. May you speak whether on that platform or it will have to be through other means? Over to you, Gordon.
Thank you very much. At the
Thank you, Gordon. Professor Jedezo, I believe you may be answered.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, so colleagues, much as this is the first time the mentorship is going to happen, we have been agonizing and thinking through any various scenarios. We may not have covered everything, but there's room, capacity, and monitoring of the system and process to be able to respond and to make things work. However, we do know, because this is the first, you are the first cohort of mentors, and it's the first time that we are now launching it. If there are any issues, we are going to be evaluating as we go, and even also at the very end, as we acknowledge you also even right through up to the ICASA conference, what your feedback, is all about. It will help us to continually engage. And Gordon and colleagues who are the technical, people behind the scenes there, they'll also be realizing and, realizing any better ways of improving efficiencies on the system itself, because you can only build a car, let the people drive it, and then they start giving you how it's performing, and then we always produce the latter additions as we go. Any further comments, colleagues? It looks like we are done here. Gordon, looks like our job is done. Colleagues, I think if there are any further comments, 1, 2, 3 going. If not, then, yeah, we could as well end the session. But should anything arise later, Gordon, where would they send? If there's anything that is coming out of this session, is there any particular contract you may want to give them that they may want to, something comes up later once we're done?
Thank you, Dr. Munya. So we'll be sharing the recording with everyone. So in the email, we would include all the necessary contact information going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Gordon. So colleagues, there you have it. You will, at your own leisure time, be able to listen through this, and then, in due course, hopefully, I think, when will the system be opened, Gordon, for people to even begin to, just to familiarize, though there's nothing that might have been entered, is there any way they can interface with it?
For now, that option or that functionality is not available, but thank you for that. We will look into that going from first March. Thank you.
Yeah, just so it will help for people to have a dime, whatever that they may want to go and familiarize with themselves around it. But colleagues, yes, 1st of March is not very far, but let's see what happens. Thank you very much for the time, and thank you, Gordon, and the team on the Secretariat side. It has been great, interacting with you, colleagues, as we continue to live this dream that has been a very long time in the making. And there we go, beginning to grow our own timber, so to speak. All the best, and do have a good weekend, colleagues. I will sign off now. Thank you so much.